Hello everybody, I wanted to make this video kind of catching people up to what I've been up to lately. The gameplay you're watching right now is Yakuza Like a Dragon, a game that came out in 2020, and y'all have been telling me for years now to check out the Yakuza series because I'm a huge Sega fan and I love Shenmue, and I gotta say, this is way better than Shenmue. I also got Yakuza 0, so I have not completed that game. I'm kind of taking a break from that to enjoy this. I'm a huge fan of turn-based JRPGs, including but not limited to Skies of Arcadia, Grandia 2, Pokemon, so on and so forth. So this is just right up my alley, and I've been having a blast with this game. And I'm so thrilled that we have Kojima as a pirate in the newest release. So when I finish this game and Yakuza 0, you can bet your ass I'm going to be getting Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth and that game as well. I mean, when I have the money, that is, which who knows when that's going to be. I'm not exactly in a hurry to play new video games. I'm kind of happy with the ones I have right now. So anyway, the purpose of this video, like I said, is to catch you up to how I'm doing. So I'm going to be talking about mostly like my projects. As you guys are aware, I tend to dip my fingers into multiple different projects, and also just kind of like how I'm doing, personally, emotionally, physically, so on and so forth. I'll start with the more fun stuff, which are my projects, because that is kind of like what you guys tune in to watch me do, are my projects. So let's start with Turbo Queer. Turbo Queer, this channel that you're watching this video on, is still set to go on, and I'm not necessarily making any major changes. However, I've been making kind of gradual changes as time went on, and this actually is one of them. You may have noticed that occasionally I won't do a heavily edited video, but instead show gameplay of whatever game I'm playing at that moment. And regardless of what game I'm playing, I'll put commentary over it, depending on what I feel like talking about then. The thing is, however, is that this style of particular video that you're watching is not meant to replace the more heavily edited, meticulously researched videos, like the one I did recently about immigrant custom enforcement and border abolition. I have learned that I tend to get overwhelmed if I burden myself with a lot of big projects where I have to meticulously edit all of them all at once. But I do like to mix things up a little bit, because when I can make videos like this, I can get the message out quicker. And I think that really does help me make my channel live longer instead of being continuously burned out and hating what I do. So if I can allow myself to just kind of fuck around and enjoy myself for at least a little bit while I'm making videos, then I feel like I'm doing myself a service here by allowing myself to recognize the amount of capacity that I have into making videos, not burning myself out, and also just putting out content at a respectable consistency. So if you ever saw a video of mine and you're just like, I don't know if I want to watch this, it's not edited, there's not a whole lot going on, and she's just kind of rambling about stuff that's on her mind, I'd rather watch H-Bomber Guy for 4 hours, with, you know, no disrespect to Harris for that matter, then just be assured that this is not replacing the more meticulously edited videos. I just do this when I don't want to spend a million fucking years editing one particular video. That being said, I do intend to upload just a little bit less on my channel, just because like I feel it is far more rewarding when I can put more effort into one specific video that has a lot to be said on there. I felt, for example, border abolition and immigrant custom enforcement, that particular topic needed to have a lot of nuances elaborated on. It did require and, call for a lot of editing, because there's a lot of things to be said, a lot of things to be explored on the nuances of the topic itself. But this particular video that you're watching right now, this is just an update video. Do you understand how ridiculous it would be if I had to continuously edit my update video of all things? I don't know. I personally feel like that would very much overwhelm me. I just don't have the drive to edit every single video that I make, but I want to, give something to you guys. That being said, I am coming out with a video essay that I am going to be meticulously researching and editing that is set to go out at the end of April. I'm not going to reveal what it is, but just know that because I allow myself to make these videos where I could just have gameplay footage and me ramble on, it allows me to, for what it is worth, make these bigger videos that I am enthusiastic about, not overwhelmed over, and passionate about presenting to you guys. So I mean it when I say, I really hope that you guys are looking forward to that video when it comes out at the end of April, as I have every single intention of making it happen by that timeline. So another thing I'm going to talk about here is I'm actually coming out with an album. Although, you guys know me for being a punk. You guys know me for making punk music, ska music, folk music. But have I ever made a metal album? Technically, yes. So in the past, in 2015, I came out with what I will call a joke metal album, or a joke grindcore death metal album. It was called Asking Alejandro, which was supposed to be a parody of the band Asking Alexandria, and I made it within the course of a single afternoon, because if you go on my music channel, Szabo Cat Records, and listen to it, it's less than 5 minutes long. It is so short that it's like the length of a regular death metal song, and honestly, it's intentionally shitty, but I have always looked back on that album, although fondly, and I have said to myself, maybe I can make a real heavy metal album of some kind, right? Now, I want to make it very clear that if your expectations are super high and you expect me to do Herman Lee style fucking sweep picking, set your expectations lower, okay? I am not the guitarist of goddamn Necrophagus, okay? I am not the guitarist of Dragon Force. I am not Kerry King, everybody. I am a punk musician. I can solo to a somewhat respectable degree, but please do not expect me to blow your mind with any crazy sweep-picking solos, masturbating the fretboard with Phrygian scales like Protest the Hero would. That being said, I am very proud of this album. I've actually finished recording it earlier last month, and I have already been releasing individual songs on my music channel, once again Szabo Cat Records, and I am very proud of all the songs on there. And I hope that you like what you hear when it does come out, which it is set to come out on May 5th, 2025, which the reason why is because it is the 10-year anniversary of the Asking Alejandro release. And, of course, because I transitioned, the name of the album, or the name of the project rather, is called, wait for it, Asking Alejandra. I'm not kidding. I'm very proud of this project, and I love all the songs on it. Some of my influences for, metal would be stuff like Lamb of God, Desecrate, Slayer, Necrophagus, Doom, Nausea, Christina Aguilera, not Christina Aguilera, to be clear. No disrespect to Christina Aguilera herself, she's a queen. You can go and listen to some of the songs on that album right now on that YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description to one of the songs for you to check out. One of my favorite songs is the final track on the album, which I feel is very inspired by Dystopia, if you guys know who they are. They're like grindcore, but a little bit sludge metal in a way. So you got that to look forward to, and I'm very excited about that for coming out in May. In addition, I also have a huge announcement for my band Turf Stomp, which, yes, we're still on a hiatus, but we're not, dormant. We're actually doing quite a lot right now. We're writing new songs. We actually got some new bandmates, and we're really just restructuring the whole band. You guys may know me for being the singer and the guitarist and the bassist, and of course with computer drums, but we actually have a new singer, and that is the bassist of the previous lineup. So we pretty much graduated her to being the singer of the band. And so I am just pretty much doing solely guitar work and backup vocals. And we got 2 other bandmates that are now filling the role of bassist and drummer. So we're, instead of a 3-piece band, it's a 4-piece band. And you want to know something? For a long time, I was worried about the experience of what a 4-piece band would be like. I was thinking like, oh my goodness, this is going to be very overwhelming. It's 3 other people that I got to worry about. But actually no. Because there's 3 other people in the band now, a lot of the workload that I've had to do in the past is actually even easier because there are more people involved in like all of these different projects, whether it be like creating album artwork or brainstorming little projects and presentations and so on and so forth, songwriting. It actually is such a huge weight off my shoulders that I don't have to be the lead singer. Like, I'm serious. I'm really glad to step down from lead singing. As weird as that sounds, like, because when you're the lead singer, there's a lot of spotlight on you. And I guess, like, in a way, when I was in the band Autistic Chainsaw from 2012 to 2015, that was kind of just an inevitability because it was my project, and no matter what lineup changes we've made with that band, I was always the lead singer. And with Turf Stomp, I have been the lead singer, but just being able to solely focus on guitar, you wanna know what that does? It allows me to take a step back and actually focus on my guitar work. Like, I can do solos, I can do a little extra intricate guitar riffs that I couldn't necessarily do before because I had to split my attention between the guitar and the microphone. It's seriously a lot of work on top of writing lyrics and promoting the band and doing my own album artwork and brainstorming. It just makes the whole process that much easier when you can split those kinds of responsibilities among 4 people. And it also allows us to kind of work kind of like a unit. So I'm just very excited for that. We have new music coming out. We don't have any announcements for when new music is coming out, and we don't have any announcement for when we're going to start playing shows again or when we're going to release any kinds of merchandise or anything like that. It's still very much all in the works, and we're still very much on hiatus, but I do want y'all to know that we are not dormant. We are not just kind of like indefinite hiatus. We are definitely working our asses off to come back with a fucking bang. And honestly, right now, I am very, very, very proud of my bandmates for all of the work that they have done and contributed to this project, putting their 100%, putting all of their heart into the lyrics and into the music and the songwriting and the artwork and the presentation, all of it. I am genuinely, wholeheartedly, from the bottom of my heart, so proud of my band. And I hope that you feel the same once we come back and we're starting to play shows and we release new music. Alright, so I've talked about my projects. I do want to talk about kind of like how I'm doing. Well, you know, I'm making this video and it's just really interesting to kind of answer that question, how am I doing? Because I don't want to just say, oh, I'm fine. Have you looked outside recently? It's everything's on fire right now. But I would be remiss if I said that I was not genuinely fucking pissed off with the way things are going with, well, let's just be honest here, the fascist fucking takeover that is the Trump administration. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know very well that I am under no delusion that the Democratic Party have been complicit in this rise of fascism. In fact, they've only been aiding it, functionally speaking. And I've made plenty of videos talking about this specific thing, but I am just not very pleased to know that our very lives are constantly at risk. Like, for example, my mother wants to fly to California to visit my grandfather while he's dying. It's gonna be like probably her last visit to my grandfather. And then of course in May, she plans to come visit me for Mother's Day. However, I am fucking scared for her. She has to board planes at the bare minimum 4 times, not including layaways and shit, while Donald Trump has fired air traffic controllers. Like, do you realize how fucking scary that is for me, considering the fact that in numerous cases within the last couple of months, we've had horrific air traffic accidents. And out of all of the things going on, that alone, just that part alone, keeps me up at night. Because I have to worry that she's gonna fucking die, and I don't want her to die. And I am also constantly afraid of my own well-being and my livelihood. Because every time I step out of the house, I do have to constantly reconcile with the fact that something traumatic or fatal could happen to me in the form of a hate crime. And I don't know if y'all know, I have a cat now, and I love my cat so fucking dearly, so I have an extra incentive, aside from me being a suicide survivor and being like so militantly anti-suicide. I mean specifically for myself, but also for others. I don't think people should be killing themselves unless you're a fucking Nazi piece of shit. Or, you know, complicit in the rise of fascism. I think once you get to the point to where your whole world belief centers around discrimination and eliminating people's human rights and elimination of people's, I think you really are not a person who I should be giving a fuck about in terms of your own well-being. Because your whole policy, your whole ideology centers around that. Why should I care about you if you don't even care about me? You know, the feeling's mutual. I ain't no fucking liberal, are you kidding me? A liberal would be like, yeah, but the Nazi lives matter too, you know? What if the Nazi finally has the come to Jesus moment and a non-binary person gives that Nazi Fortnite V-Bucks and the Nazi is like, oh no, I have been dehumanizing non-binary people, therefore I better stop doing that. Honestly, as much as I wished for that to happen to every Nazi, that's just not how Nazis work. Nazis, they don't care about your humanity. They only care about your elimination. So, with that being said, I have a confession to make, and this is something that I gotta be real truthful with you guys on. I definitely feel, and this is not just apparent in my own videos and in my podcasts and so on and so forth, but also in real life, right? Like with my friends and interactions and whatnot. I feel that I am too jaded and too cynical. So what do I mean by this? Well, I genuinely feel that a lot of people during the Trump administration's second term have talked about this shock and awe, right? Like, the whole nature of Trump's administration's actions is very overwhelming for a lot of people. No shit, of course it is. It's very overwhelming, and I don't blame people for feeling overwhelmed because, one, it's a stripping of people's basic human rights, but also, it's a lot of that, and he's not pulling any punches here. However, I have begun to feel not shock and awe, but fucking anger and pissed and resentment towards the liberals, and I do feel that my resentment towards the liberals is justified because liberals allowed for this to happen. That's why we're here. But I also feel that I have, in some cases, reciprocated this kind of anger onto people who do not deserve it. For example, some people will tell me to be careful while I'm out there protesting because they're worried for my safety, especially with the nature of this fascist administration. However, I have always perceived this as cowardice because when we're faced with Nazis, we can't show fear. We can't do that. We have to show strength. We need to show unity. We need to show togetherness. But at the same time, we can't do all of this solidarity unless we have compassion for each other. So now, whenever somebody is really going through it, and whenever somebody is really deeply concerned for my safety, I try to put myself in their shoes. I try to say, they probably are genuinely fucking terrified for my well-being. And honestly, I should be more thankful for that because they have so much compassion to think of me in that way. And I want to say to anybody who is watching, who I might have been, very angry and cynical to, but I've made a lot of effort to apologize to individuals, but I really want people to know that I am genuinely sorry that I've taken my anger out on them. I'm working on it. I'm recognizing the issue personally, and I really want you to know that I do deeply care about you if I call you a friend, and I really want to see all of you succeed. It is not easy to say any of this because deep down I do hold a lot of anger, but I'm trying to always remember that my anger needs to be directed upward, at the system, at the very plutocratic sons of bitches who are in power right now, on both sides of the bipartisan duopoly that is our fucking US government. I'm also, and I fucking hate to say this, guys, but I'm trying to also practice a little bit of patience with liberals, okay? Because I do feel legitimate in being resentful towards liberals. I don't think I'm gonna back down from that. But I think if a liberal is genuinely asking me why should we abolish this capitalist system, I do think they at least deserve some kind of explanation coming from a place of compassion and understanding. You have to understand, I am not Hassan Piker. I am not the kind of person who is willing to sit down and use wet wipes on a Nazi's butthole. I am the kind of person who will want to put fucking sandpaper on that butthole. Okay, that's a really weird analogy, I'm so sorry. What I'm trying to say, however, is that I genuinely believe that our time on Earth is very limited, and therefore I feel that prompt action in the name of abolition of the state and abolition of capitalism and abolition of white supremacy is urgent. And I really just don't feel like slowing down and like pretending that reform is going to fix anything when we've seen time and again that that is just not feasible. So yeah, if you guys are wondering how I'm doing, I'm hanging in there. I'm depressed sometimes, but never to a point to where I am in crisis. And honestly, I've fought so hard for so many decades to get to this point, and I'm very proud to be at this point. But I am depressed sometimes, and therefore, I am angry more times than not. And I am always trying to look inward and to reflect on ways I can channel that anger in a much more constructive way that is beneficial to both the cause that I deeply care about, but also for the community that I share with other people. That said, and this is just a little bit of self-criticism towards myself, I have been burned out in terms of activism. I have, as you have been watching, been playing video games, a lot of Yakuza in recent days, and I have not really done my due diligence, and I would like to go back into doing that. I know that my community right now definitely genuinely needs my help, and I have reached out to my immediate community, and we're gonna be working on stuff together. So just know that I am not out for the count. I am still very much committed to the struggle, even if it means I need to slow down every once in a while. But the reality is that a lot of people who are suffering from the boot of fascism, they don't get a break. People in Palestine, they don't get a break. People who are suffering from being unhoused don't get a break. People who are being deported by ICE don't get a break. I am privileged in this respect. I recognize this, and I want to do what I can to get back into the groove of things and shove a middle finger up the butthole of the fascist imperialist system. My suggestion is that we skin the muskrat. Thank you for listening. Solidarity. Have a wonderful day.